Are you considering working with that realtor that you see on the billboards, the bus stop benches, even on the bus? They flooded your mailbox with flyers. Well, guess what? When you call them, they might not show up. This video is gonna break down how teams actually work in real estate. There's nothing wrong with working with a team, but this video will explain to you what you should consider and how your expectations should be. By the way, if you don't know me, my name is Hussein Kabani. I've been trading real estate since 2011. I predominantly work in the Durham region, and I'd be more than happy to chat with you guys about real estate teams, the market in general, and about how we do business. My calendar link is gonna be on the screen. I encourage you guys to book an appointment with me, and I'd love to chat with you guys. Now, before I get into all of this stuff, what I wanna try to explain to you guys is some of the reasons why realtors would set up a real estate team. I've done this in the past. So my reason for setting it up is that I obviously think I'm really good at what I do, and I want to try to help out more people. And a lot of people get into it for the same reason. They want to try to help out more people. They have specific skills that they could really leverage and add in people where they don't necessarily kind of need to be there, but have qualified people that can help them move things along, and then they can kind of intercept when they actually need to be there and really get the deal done. Another reason why people want to do this is that they actually look at it more so as a business than a job, okay? So there are agents that operate in two different ways. Like I said, a team, and likely they're looking at it as a business at that point. I'm an individual agent at this point right now, and I look at myself as a business, not an individual agent, but some people just do it as a job, okay? So there's different things. And I would say the biggest difference between you looking at it as a business versus a job is that most of the time when you're looking at it as a business, you actually have a plan, a strategy, some type of infrastructure, some kind of process that you've kind of outlined, worked through and perfected, whereas an individual agent may not be doing so many deals, and they might just be doing it as a job, so it might just be like a little random and scattered versus being a really organized. As you guys probably know if you're watching my videos, that Ima, my wife, she actually works with me. She is the back-end support and keeps a lot of this stuff flowing for me while I'm out doing things like this. She is actually in the back end, keeping our deals going, moving paperwork around through lawyers and getting back to our clients on inquiries that she can actually handle. So we're not officially a team, but we are working as a team, and likely in the future we will probably add some more people, but I'll explain that all to you guys later. But this is why people do create real estate teams. Another thing is that why do agents actually join a real estate team? Well, there's a lot of reasons for that, and some of the reasons could actually be is either they don't want to or don't know how to go out there and actually get their own clients. That's a really tough thing in this business. We have over 70,000 real estate agents in the Toronto Real Estate Board, and I believe the last stats I saw is that 1% of them are actually doing more than 35 deals. It's a small portion of the agents that are actually doing a lot of the deals. Even out of that 70,000 number, I think it was like 50% of that was basically doing between 0 and 5 deals. So there's a huge chunk of them that are not really doing much. And this might be the portion of the people that might actually want to join a team just so they can kind of get their business going or understand how the business works. Another reason why someone could join a team is that maybe they enjoy doing specific things. Maybe they don't like dealing with selling somebody's house. Maybe they just like going around and showing people homes. They like touring homes, pointing out things to people, and they enjoy that process. So maybe it's something specific about the whole process that they really like, and that's what they want to be focused on. Other times I've seen agents that have been in the business that have operated a business of their own for 20 plus years, but they have a bug for the business and they don't want to stop. But at the same time, they don't want to be running a big business and be responsible for coordinating everything. Believe it or not, guys, there's like maybe 50 or 60 things in the background that actually has to happen for us to actually get a listing on the market. And maybe if you're at a point where you're calming down in your life and you don't want to do all of these things, maybe, and you have a bug for it, maybe you just want to focus on specific parts of it, and maybe that's why they are on a team as well. And like I mentioned, new agents do sometimes join a team so they can kind of get a lay of the land, and maybe they'll spin off and they'll do their own thing. It's a very common thing that happens at that point, but that's some of the reasons why realtors join a team. The reason I'm bringing this up is that we've seen a lot of misconceptions, and I've run into people that have had some bad experiences. And guys, working with a team or an individual agent is all good, okay? There's nothing wrong with any of it, but sometimes what we see is that, you know, good news doesn't spread as quick as bad news. So sometimes we see a lot more stories about bad things that have happened. One of the major things I've seen or heard people talk to me about is this. They see that agent on the billboard, on the signs, on flyers, all over the place, and they're just like, wow, I'm gonna work with this person. And what happens? They want to sell their property, and that agent may not actually show up. They might actually send somebody else from their team to actually work with you in terms of selling your property. Or that agent might show up, but might be like, hey, I'm going to assign this to somebody else after I'm done this initial chat with you and the evaluation of the house. Nothing wrong with that, guys, but the point is that you have to be okay with that. So if you're looking at that person and think that person is going to take you the whole way, that may not necessarily be the case. So that's one thing to kind of consider. Another thing to consider would be is that if that person is not going to be your point of contact, you got to try to figure out who is going to be. Not figure out, but ask. Is it going to be another agent? Is it going to be their admin person? Who are you going to be corresponding with? Also, when it comes down to you're going to be purchasing a property, is it going to be the same agent that's actually selling your house? Or if you're not selling a house, who that agent is going to be if you're just going to be buying? And how much experience does that person have? And at the same time, is that primary agent that you were looking at as a team leader going to be the one reviewing any of it? Are they going to be showing you any documents? Are they going to be walking you through the process? If they're not, that's fine. But I'm just saying these are the questions that you should be asking, and you should be comfortable with that. There's nothing wrong with it. You should just know that how this process is going to work, so you should ask the right questions. The other thing also I come up with is that, you know, if you're going to be selling your property and that primary agent is not going to be the one that's actually involved with the listing process, but when you get an offer for the property, is that going to be the agent that the offer gets back to, and that agent, the primary agent, is going to be the one that's going to be negotiating the deal? Or is it going to be the agent that they assign to the property that's going to be handling the deal? And are you okay with that? Again, nothing wrong with it. You just have to be okay with it and understand how that process is going to work. And the same thing on the buying side, okay? So if you're buying with the team, they have an agent that's showing you around. Is that going to be the agent overall that's going to be writing the offer, showing you the comparable sales, and, you know, writing that offer and negotiating that deal? Or is that team leader going to step into a certain point and actually help you negotiate that transaction? My point of this is that either way, it's fine, but you just have to know what you're going to be getting out of this and what you're comfortable with. So if you really think that person is going to show up and you want them there, and you find out that they're not going to be there, you may want to change your mind about it, maybe talk to other people, or you might be perfectly fine with it because they've outlined their process really well, and you have a bunch of different people within their organization that you can go to if things are not going to be working out the way that you want them to, or at least you have someone to contact at the same time. So guys, this leads us into why I'm doing this and some stories about recent interactions that I've had with some people, okay? One thing is not an interaction I'll start off with is that, look, I've seen some high volume agents, and nothing wrong with them. I actually want to aspire to get to their volume at some point, maybe one day. But the thing is that some of these agents I've seen, they just kind of go in there, they market themselves as, you know, someone that can sell your house for top dollar and whatnot, and it's probably all true, okay? But the thing is that they get that contract signed, and guess what? Likely, you probably won't even see them again. I'm not saying it happens all the time. Maybe it's rare. It's only a handful of agents. I'm not sure. I don't want to even speculate on that. But what I've seen happen is they come in, they get that listing contract signed, and then they're gone. They have a listing coordinator that's going to process this whole thing for them. And I hate to say it, but like sometimes when I see the media that's come out, the way that the property is represented, I'm just not happy with the way that it turned out looking, right? It's lacking. Maybe that's not even the agent. Maybe that's the client saying, hey, I don't want to invest in staging. I don't want to do this. I don't want to paint this wall. It could be that way. For us anyways, just as a side note, we really believe in that staging component, setting up the property correctly. If you have to paint something, we strongly encourage that you do it. I really believe that there's an emotional value that you can add to your property, not just your property value. And I think it goes a long way. But sometimes these people, they just do, you know, 150 deals, 200 deals, and they just don't care. You're just a number in that transaction process. One of the examples that I've kind of come across recently is we ended up working with this client and helping them sell their property, but they explained to us that they worked with a big team before, and they had a property in Durham that they ended up calling one of these big agents, and that agent didn't actually show up to the initial meeting anyways, but the agent that showed up said, yeah, absolutely, this person's going to be on board. They're just couldn't make it today. We're going to get this rolling, and they're going to contact you, and we're going to move this process forward. Well, what ended up happening was that agent, that team leader, never actually interacted with them at all. 0 phone calls, 0 meetings, 0 nothing, okay? So it never happened. In fact, they actually felt very pressured to actually sell their house, and they were getting in a pressure situation where it's just like, oh, the market's coming down, you should actually sell right now, this is a really good thing, and they felt uncomfortable about it. And at the same time, when they did sell, there was a very specific area that they wanted to go into. And there was a house that came up for sale, and they assigned a different buyer agent. So it wasn't even the listing agent that worked with them. They assigned a different buyer agent for that person to work with. From what I gathered from the client is that they really felt pressured on that side to purchase the property as well. This property was a type of property that would require a status certificate. And when we were selling the property, they never even understood what a status certificate was, never heard of a status certificate. So I actually explained that. And they asked me, hey, is this something that should have been in the purchase document when we purchased? Again, I don't know what the circumstances was around it, but for me, I would always have it in there. Even if we're gonna scratch it out at the end of the day, I would still actually put that condition in there so you know what it is, and I will explain it to you. And if that buyer decides for whatever reason they don't want that condition in there, we can scratch it out together, but it will get explained to them. But in this case, they didn't even know what it was. So they didn't kind of get what they were expecting. Overall, the transaction worked out. They sold their house, they bought the house that they wanted, and it worked out. It's just the experience wasn't that great, and they felt like they left money on the table on both ends of it, on the selling end and on the buying end. They felt like they could have done better. Another story I have, there was a client, not my client, but just a story I've heard so far. They were interested in actually selling their townhouse and buying an upgraded house, okay? And basically what ended up happening was they were looking around, they went into some open houses, they signed in the open house sheet, which is fine, you should probably do that. And then that agent called them to follow up and said, hey, are you interested in purchasing the property? The right thing to do. They weren't interested. That agent asked them, hey, would you want me to show you around? And this person said, yeah, absolutely. I'm not working with anyone and I'm interested in doing this. Perfect, the right thing to do. So this agent started showing them the properties and whatnot. They had a pre-approval to a certain amount. And basically after losing out on a couple of offers, this agent said to them, listen, you like this house? I think you should add in this extra amount of money, despite what your pre-approval says, because don't worry about it. What we're gonna do is we're gonna turn around, we're gonna sell your house for more than what you think you're gonna get for it, and everything is just gonna work out. Sounds like Justin Trudeau's plan, right? About our financial economy, everything will work itself out. Well, guess what? It didn't. This person cannot sell their property right now where they committed to purchasing a property. They can't even get the original amount that they thought they could get, not even the extended amount this agent thought they can get. They can't even get the original amount that they can get. And guess what? They're in a legally binding contract to purchase this other property, and they have about a month or so to make this thing work one way or the other. And guess what happens? This agent listed their property, can't get what they wanted, and they said, oh, well, the market just kind of changed. Well, I'll tell you what, guys, like during the time this has all happened, on our side, we were telling all of our clients right now, it's not a good idea for you to go and purchase a property unless you really, really like it and are willing to compromise on the sale of your property. If you have the flexibility to compromise on the sale of your property and you really like this unique property, then go ahead and buy it. But this is how it's gonna play out. Otherwise, if we're saying that, hey, it's more or less, I hate to use this term, but it is what it is. Like if it's kind of a cookie cutter type of home or whatever else like that, we go out in the market, you want to sell your house, we go out in the market, we look at 7 or 8 houses and you're like, I would have bought 5 or 6 of these houses. I'm like, we're in good shape. Let's go and sell your house first. And that's the strategy we were already employing. So in my opinion, if I was that person there, and just my opinion, I don't have all the facts, I would have basically been like, hey, listen, I think we should sell your property first and then go and replace this property. We should buy something else afterwards. And in my own experience, I'll tell you this too, guys. So basically, I think it was probably 2017-ish, and my business was doing really, really well at that point, and I started to wanting to build a team. And really the way that I did it was incorrect. I could be honest about it. The way I went to do it, I just kind of throwing bodies at it, and it didn't really work out for me. That's why it's been dismantled and I don't operate that way. And I mentioned earlier in the video that I will scale it back up at some point. I'm not in a rush to do it because I want to do it my way in a very quality way. And I'm OCD when it comes to that stuff. So everything has to line up really perfectly in my way. So we're not there yet, but we were in a situation where we had a couple of agents out there. One agent in particular, we were working out of this industrial area. I told her, go knock on all these doors and talk to these business owners and the people that are occupying these units and find out if there's an opportunity where we can actually help them. Well, guess what? There was. Person in there was actually renting a unit, and there was a unit up for sale that they were interested in purchasing. So guess what my buyer agent did? She went, she did the right thing. She got the contract signed, but guess what? She got it signed at full asking price. But my process is that before we submit any offers, they have to run through me. So the offer came to my desk and I basically looked at it and I said, I don't know about this. I ran the comps myself and I said, I think we're paying way too much for this property. So I had to do something that was difficult for me because I had to swallow my pride a little bit and call up the clients and say, hey, can we meet? And basically just told them that, hey, listen, great property. We've walked through it. It's nice. It's gonna work perfectly well for you guys. But I think that there's an opportunity that we could actually do better on the price. So we actually submitted it lower. We went back forth and negotiated. And overall, we saved them $40,000 on their purchase price. That's because we intervened. From experiences like that, I basically decided I don't want to be involved with buyer agents or other agents right now because I want to keep my quality of service really, really, really high. And we will get back to this when we can build a better infrastructure. So this is some of the things that I want you guys to consider when you guys are looking at possibly going out there and hiring a team. I think it's perfectly fine to work with a real estate team, with an individual realtor. I think everything is fine. I think what you need to do is you need to figure out what your expectations actually are and what you want out of this process. If you guys have any questions about how real estate teams work or how I work in real estate, I'll be more than happy to take a quick chat with you guys. My calendar link is gonna be on this page. So click it, book an appointment, and let's have a chat. Until next time, guys, remember one thing, get Kabani, get sold.
Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold. Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold. Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold. Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold.